Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. I'm Ebony, a mindset coach, and on my channel we used to talk about empowering moms to walk in their power, goal setting, making yourself a priority, limiting mommy guilt, and so much more. But I've recently been on my spiritual journey and I feel like I want to switch my channel up a little bit and talk about things that actually matter to me. Not to say
I don't care about empowering moms and women.
I don't want to offend anyone. You know how it is nowadays. I just feel like mindset and spirituality is so much bigger than just limiting myself to one type of genre as an audience. Based off of the title, today's video is going to be about a story time and just allowing you to come on my spiritual journey with me and just see how it started. Just follow me throughout this whole process because I feel like I want to use this platform as a spiritual visual journal for myself to document the progress of what this all looks like for me and everything that I experienced, and just to see at the end the growth that I experienced over the time. So I'm very excited to share this with you guys, and yeah, let's get started. Being on a spiritual journey literally will hit you like a brick out of nowhere. I can't speak for anyone else, but I know I am on my second round of my spiritual awakening. I didn't stick to it the first time around. I kind of started working on myself and then got stuck into the society and worldly things, it just happens. So my first awakening started back in 2018. At that time, I was unhappy in a marriage. My daughter had just turned 1 year old, and I'm just trying to deal with the responsibility of being a new mom again, dealing with my son and everything that he has going on. They're 11 years apart, so I was starting all over again, and then just putting too much on my plate. And then it's like, okay, I have these kids I have to take care of. I also have to take care of this husband, and then the household, and then there literally was no time for myself. It just wasn't really a thing. So we're going to rewind it just a little bit. So growing up, I had to be very independent. I was a mother at 17. I am just trying to live life just blindly, and just thinking that I know what I'm doing. I don't know who I am. It's like, who's Ebony? What does she like? What does she enjoy? I don't know any of that. I was just in straight survival mode and just trying to figure things out as I went. Then being a single mom and trying to date, it was terrible. I don't know my worth at this time, so I'm just dating people who don't deserve my love, and just that, of course, messed with my self-confidence. I was still dealing with a lot of childhood trauma that I literally was just settling for anything. Then years later, I met my now ex-husband. So at this time, he's just showing me everything that I've never experienced before. We're going on trips. He's actually paying for everything. Him and my son have one of the best relationships ever. It was just a whole complete different lifestyle for me. But then, when you're just in awe and lust and you think it's love, and I was in love, I'm not going to say that, but you know how in the beginning stages, you're just so into it that you just neglect a lot of red flags that are right there in front of you, and you just don't pay attention to them. But I felt like at that moment, where am I going to find anyone else like this? Like, I've never met anyone like this before, so I'm going to ignore them, and I'm just going to ignore them. That's all there was to it. I just ignored them. The thing about it was, we were really good friends, so we actually built a relationship. It was still fast, but it was the slowest that I ever worked on a relationship before. So we got to know each other, but also we were really damaged from our previous relationships, and we just brought that into our equation, and we pretty much just rushed into things because we were just looking for love. Also, I can say, if you're like really, I know there's some people, because I've been there before. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I know when you like meet people, how sometimes you can be you're either rushing into when y'all just become in a relationship and y'all don't get to know each other. But then on the other hand, you do sometimes take the time to be friends, and in those moments you're so friendly that you can share almost too much. So with us sharing so much, it actually caused a lot of trust issues and insecurities, because they're knowing so much about you, so they're still thinking that you're that type of way, and then they're bringing that into the relationship. So it was really tricky for us, because we shared absolutely too much, which isn't wrong, but at the same time, it's like, I guess they shouldn't know everything, because then it subconsciously comes into the relationship, and you didn't even know that that was even going to be an issue for you guys. But even with all those insecurities and trust issues, it was terrible. But we still wanted to work on things, and we just tried to make it work. Now he was so smart and intelligent and spiritually aware. And he's a couple years younger than me, but just his mindset was just like, wow, like it was just way before his time. So he will always try to get me to just be a better person, and just to just grow as a woman, as an individual, to just know more about things. So basically more about my childhood. So growing up, I hated school. I wasn't really made to do work at home and things like that. So, kind of felt a little, at that time, I felt dumb. I felt like I just didn't know what was going on. I was just led by just living my life. I wasn't really paying attention to a lot of things. So I kind of carried that into my teenage years and my early adulthood. So I kind of felt dumb, because I didn't know a lot of topics. I couldn't have an intellectual conversation, because I wasn't paying attention to what was going on in the world. I didn't know what was going on. I was just out here just living my best life and just on straight survival mode. So I didn't know a lot of things. So I felt kind of left out of certain conversations. Even trying to connect with my husband at the time, it was very hard, because I just didn't know what was going on. And instead of me taking that as, let me just learn from him and he's trying to show me the way, I became really defensive, and I was very projecting a lot, because I was insecure about me not knowing a lot of things, and I just was not receptive to anything that was trying to be taught to me at that time. We still decided to just continue to go and work on the relationship. So at this point, it's about over a year at this point, and we're living together at this time. So what do we decide to do? We decided to just put a Band-Aid on this huge wound, and we decided to get married. Thinking about it now, it's just like, geez, but you don't know, you live and you learn. I just remember the feeling behind getting married, saying yes, and then actually going through with it. Once we said yes, we just end up, for whatever reason, just rushing to get married. We didn't even just wait and just be engaged long. I think we were only engaged for a couple months and then decided to get married. And I just felt that it wasn't right. It just did not feel right. But when you don't think about yourself and you worry about everybody else and what they think, you're going to just go off of everybody else's feelings, as in, I don't want to disappoint anyone. I already said yes, so I have to go through with it. The date has already been set. We're already here, so I have to do this. There ain't no going back and turning back from it at this point. So at this point, it's constant arguing. And not to say, like, there obviously was great times in this time period over the life of our marriage. We had great times. We traveled. We always was on vacation. We was living our best lives. We were still trying to be good friends, but then there was still those heavy issues that kind of were outweighing the reality of us trying to just work through it and things being good. So we're married now, and it's months in, and I end up getting pregnant, and we're definitely at this time, we're happy about it. We just moved into our home, and we were somewhat good at this time. So we were happy. This is what you're supposed to do in a relationship. You're supposed to get married. You're supposed to wait for marriage. You're supposed to have a baby, and you're supposed to live happy ever after. So even before I made it to my first doctor's appointment, I actually suffered a miscarriage, and we took that really hard. It hit me really hard. So we just kind of had to just go back to work and just live a normal life. I still had a son to take care of. We still had things that needed to be done. So we didn't really deal with it. Like, we talked about it for a little bit, but then we kind of just dealt with our feelings of the miscarriage on our own. We weren't really working on them together, and it just was what it was. So we kind of got over that. Then a couple months later, we decided that we wanted to try for another baby. So when I say try, I mean we tried. Like, we were calculating my ovulations, what positions, everything, trying for a girl. And in this process, while we were trying, we were really good. But I don't know anyone out there, if you try to have a baby, it just becomes a job. Like, it was no longer fun. It was just so calculated, and it was exhausting. So a lot of issues had came up for us. I don't even know what they were at the time, but I know it was starting to get pretty bad. And so we had stopped trying to have a baby because it just wasn't the right time anymore. We just really wasn't feeling each other like that, and it just wasn't really a right time to bring a baby into the situation. But you know what happens when you stop trying? I end up finding out that I'm pregnant. This time around, I wasn't happy about it. We just weren't in a good space. Home wasn't good. So it was like, then we're going to bring a baby to the situation. But what are we going to do? It's already happened now. So we were just kind of trying to work through it, the whole process. My pregnancy was terrible. I do believe it was terrible because of my home situation. I wasn't happy. We both weren't happy, and it just wasn't a good space to be in. He wasn't really catering to me. We just weren't in a good space. Baby shower, after baby shower, arguing, about to break up, and it just wasn't a good time at all. Months go by. I give birth to my baby girl. I truly think that I suffered postpartum. I look at it now and think that it was postpartum, but at the time I just felt, it kind of was like we were single. My son was older, so he's mature. He's very independent at this time. He's probably like 9, 10. No, I think he was like 11. He's like 11 at this time. So he's pretty much, he's a big kid now. And he had his sports, everything. So I still had time to just relax when I got off of work or just do little things for me. So I was the first one to get home from work. My husband worked late. So that means I'm picking my baby up right from daycare. I'm going home. I'm picking up my son. I'm going home. I'm making dinner. I still have my work clothes on, mind you. When he would finally get home, he was so used to us just being us. And you know how when it's just you two, you can just be all up in each other's faces. You can stop what you're doing. You can have these conversations. You can talk and just be all about each other. But I think it's hard for some men, not all, for some men. I think it's hard for some men to kind of share their time with a child. It's crazy, but it is a thing. They're so used to getting your attention, and then I'm home. I'm sitting here trying to figure out what I'm going to wear for work tomorrow. I'm figuring out I still have to get the baby in the bathtub, and I'm just trying to get everything ready. And he wants me to literally stop what I'm doing to focus on how his day was at work. And it was all about a timing thing. He wanted me to be ready right then and there. I'm like, look, wait, let me get this stuff out the way so that I can relax, unwind, and then give you my full attention. But by that time, he's like, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. So that caused a lot of friction in our relationship as well. So at this point, I know there might be other mothers out there where we don't realize how much pressure that we put on ourselves when it's not even something that is given to us. So say because I was coming home first and I was being the main person that's being home, my husband works late, so I want to make sure that he has as limited duties as possible. And so that means I'm making sure that everything's done with the kids and all he has to do is come home and relax. But I wasn't realizing how much pressure I was putting on myself. Like, you literally worked 8 hours too. On top of that, you didn't have any time for yourself. You just go home and you get right to it. So you don't think about it at that time. And then it's like, why wasn't I delegating some of the duties? Yes, he was tired, but so the hell was I. Like, why can't he give the baby a bath? Why can't he change her? Why can't he do this or do that? And I would sit there and just do it versus making him do it because I felt like he should just know. He should just know. And I think he felt because I was a mother already that I was just okay with doing things. And yes, I was a mother before, but I this is 11 years later. I'm doing this all over again. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But I also felt that I shouldn't have to come up my mouth and ask because this is our baby. So it just it caused a lot of resentment. And I fucking hated him for it. I really hated him for it. And I could have effectively communicated how I felt and that I felt some type of way about it. But back then I didn't know. I was in it. I didn't know how to communicate it. I just felt the anger inside of me. Like, fuck it, I'll just do it. You know that you should be doing it, but I'm just gonna do it and I'll just deal with it. I'm just over this whole situation. This stage, it got bad because we were, like I said, in the beginning, we were always friends. So that's kind of what held us to each other. And it also made it easier to just deal with certain things because at the end of the day, I'm going to show you respect because you're my friend. I'm going to do this because you're my friend. It's not even about the marriage or the relationship. It's because we were actually friends. But it got to a point where we just became petty to each other and it became really bad. So I remember going to go visit my dad for the weekend. And I remember being with my sister. Me and my sister are really close, and she would just happen. I don't know. You know how sometimes people can ask you same questions or you could have the same conversation and then out of nowhere you can have that same conversation. It just hits you so different. The questions that she was asking me and just how she was asking them, I just had this epiphany like, I cannot live like this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I cannot live this life anymore. I'm not happy. I know he's not happy. And I just want to be done with it. I got home. I decided to tell my husband that basically I just didn't want to do this anymore. It's a long process, but we end up separating and going our separate ways. And at this moment, I went back to school. I started going to the gym. I started working on myself and taking care of myself and doing self-care, and it just felt so good. I was going outside and being out in nature. I love nature. I didn't even know I loved nature. I knew I felt some type of way about it, but I just didn't put two and two together. I was meditating. I was eating better. Started going to bookstores and reading books. I just started doing so much things that I didn't even know that I even liked. And me and my sister got into spirituality really heavy and got into tarot cards, and things got really, really deep. that's a whole nother story. At this point, I'm doing my spiritual work. I'm doing my inner healing, working on myself. And as I'm working on myself, I just start to notice that everything that my husband was trying to tell me and just teach me, I understood it at this point. I think it was the way that he was trying to teach me. It just wasn't the right way specifically for me. And anyone who knows or who is on a spiritual journey, you know, there's no converting anyone unless they're ready. If they're not ready, they're not going to understand, and you're just literally wasting your breath. And it just made me realize that he knew what he was talking about. He was on the right path, and I just did not see that. But unfortunately, it took for me to be alone and for me to step away from the relationship to see what he was talking about, and just my mindset was just in a completely different phase at this point, where I was just open and I was understanding, and I just got it. And it just made me so grateful that he taught me that, and I got to experience that type of person and that type of guidance that I got. I never got that before, and it was huge. I actually thanked him later for that, because he was a huge part of my spiritual growth. And once I stopped being in victim mode, I started to realize that all he was doing was promoting me to figure out who I was, and promoting for me to be happy, to figure out who Ebony was. And because I didn't know who she was, I was just doing a lot of projection, a lot of projecting. I was doing a lot of projecting because I didn't know what that looked like for me. I didn't know what that meant. So I was really just angry at that point in my life. And it also made me realize that he is a really good man. He's just not the man for me. And that's okay. It's just crazy how everything works itself out and you don't realize things until you're out of them. You know what I mean? But we're great co-parents, and he's just really cool, and I love him, and yeah, to that phase. So now I'm living my best life. I'm working on myself. I'm just so strong, and I'm just starting to figure out who I am. This is a tricky stage, because now you see all these things that you're talented in and that you're good at and that you like, and you can't decide which one you want to do. So you just try to do them all. Like, I was all over the place. And also, you can be in a stage where you're just walking so much in faith, and you just believe in everything so much. You're so into it that you almost forget about worldly shit like bills, and that you have to still work, and you still have to pay bills and take care of life. You know what I mean? This is like, you can't just be in this dreamy world of, I know what I want to do now, and this is what it's going to be. So here's the kicker. Even as a kid, I loved to draw and paint, and I was actually good at it. So as I started to work on myself and figure out what I wanted to do, I literally decided to quit my job and become an artist. No, it was not. It was not a good idea. First off, I didn't have a plan. I didn't know how I was going to sell them. I didn't know where I was going to sell them. I didn't know how I was going to make money. I didn't know anything. I was just like, oh no, I'm good at this. This is what it is. This is what I'm going to do. And it was the worst decision that I made, because it was really impulsive, and I just wasn't thinking clearly. And it got to the point where literally I almost lost my home, because I didn't have any income. I'm just sitting here drawing, and there's no one seeing it. So at this point, I become stressed, of course, and I have to figure out how I'm going to save my home. Then I had to go out and look for a job again. God's so good, because while I was looking for a job, I was working at this place that I just took because I needed to take it. But I went to my old job to go apply for another position. But because I'm just great at what I do, and I'm so kind and great with people and good to the people that I work with, that my supervisor, when they called to ask for a reference, she called me and asked me if I wanted to come back and have my job back. Hell yeah, I do. So I'm starting to work, get the flow, my finances getting back in order. So now I'm able to start working towards whatever I want to do again. By this time, I decided that I wanted to think about being a coach. The reason why I decided, well, even that this was an option, is because I've always, everyone I know comes to me for advice. I give really good advice. I don't follow my own, but I give really good advice. But just helping others, it just feels good to me. It just feeds my soul. Like, I just love it. And I thought that it was the best option for me. So I go to the certification program. I get certified for health and life coaching. So at this time, you can't tell me nothing. I'm about to make all this money helping people, doing what I love to do. And that's just what it is. I'm about to get this money. So here was another tricky phase of my life. So I know how to coach. I know how to change people's lives. I know how to get them results. But one thing about coaching is that you have to be a marketer. You have to sell your brand. Your brand is you. And I hate it. I just hate marketing. I just do not like it. And at this time, when I'm coming out, there's a whole bunch of coaches that are doing the same thing. So it's on Facebook and Instagram. And there's just all these coaches who are doing the same exact thing that I'm doing. So what am I doing? I'm following all these coaches who have millions of subscribers and followers and making all this money. And I'm trying to follow their techniques. It's not resonating at all because it's not me. It's not who I truly was inside. I'm a coach. I know how to do that. I know how to work. I know how to communicate, and I know how to just do everything that is required of me when it comes to coaching. But when it came to selling, it was just a whole nother ball game for me. And it was very frustrating. It was very, what's the word? Discouraging. Because now I have this program. While I'm waiting for people to come to me, I'm doing all the background stuff. I'm getting websites put together. I'm getting everything that I need without any clients. Then come the comparison syndrome. I'm literally comparing myself to everybody, not even the smaller coaches that are just starting out, but the coaches who are already established and already have their flow and already just have this structured program and everything. And I literally felt the lowest of low, and that kind of was the phase to where I started to lose myself again, because now I'm so consumed in trying to find people and I'm trying to beat other people because this is what works and this is what sells, that I started to forget who I was, because who I was, I felt wasn't selling. So instead of trying to get my life back on track, what do? I'm enjoying being single now. I go out and I start partying again. I start hanging with friends that I already separated from because they weren't on my path and they just weren't doing things that served me. We was drinking, smoking, just living it up, partying during the week. Just it was all bad. So then I stopped working on myself altogether. And the reason why I think I stopped is because it just became too hard. And I think it's just easier to just go with the flow and not work on yourself than it is to try and to fix things and figure out what you can do better or what the actual problem was. It was just easier for me to just just get back into the flow of things and just do nothing. And of course, went back to chasing love in all the wrong places, just doing things that were no longer, it was the old me, and I knew that it was wrong and it didn't feel right, but I just did it because it's like, why not? I don't feel like working on anything. I was still working on my business. By the grace of God, I was getting clients here and there through DMs, and it was basically keeping me afloat, but it wasn't really a successful business. So my business is unsuccessful. I'm not working on myself. I don't even know who I was attempting to date at the time. It just was I just spiraled down really quick, and it's hard for you to work on things, and it takes time to get there. But it takes like this for you to snap out of it and just get back to what you already been doing. It's just literally that easy. By this time, it is 2021. So it's August. I'm due to graduate with my bachelor's degree in September. I remember getting this letter saying that the school was closing down and that basically I'll have to find another school to just graduate. So I have 1 month left of school, and they're telling me that I'm not going to graduate after all this work that I done put in. I'm not going to graduate, and I had to find a new school. So this program, they ended up finding another program for us to where it was like this affiliate school, and that we will be able to continue our degree. But instead of me graduating in 1 month, I will have to graduate in 7 months. It's just like, when I say I felt so defeated, I felt like everything in my life was falling apart. And I was ready to give up. Like, I had a business to run, still unsuccessful. I have a full-time job. I have my kids and everything that they got going on. And trying to find time for myself, and then the school shit, I was done. But my accountability partner, shout out to Brenya Bain, and my dad, I call him every time I need to hear what I don't want to hear. And they both were just encouraging me, finish. And I'm like, fuck that. Y'all don't know what I've been through. Like, I've been through too much. I'm just done. I don't have it in me. I cannot give this 7 more months. But I sat down, and it was just like, it's the principle of it all. You did all that work, so you're going to do all that work and for nothing? You're not going to get any document, anything, no degree for this? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. So I decided to continue with school. I don't know how I did it. I was struggling. But March of 2022, I graduated with my bachelor's, and oh my God, I cried. I just couldn't believe that I did it. And it just felt so good, and this made me feel like just accomplished. And I appreciate it so much that I didn't give up, because I would have felt worse if I didn't. And I just appreciate the people who were in my life that pushed me and were there and just supportive at that time that I needed them the most. So I'm greatly thankful and very appreciative, and just thank goodness that phase is over. Oh my God, it was the worst. So just a little backup. It's January 2022. I get in this big car accident with my daughter in the car. Thank goodness we left with no scratches, but my car was totaled. The mindset that I still was in was money. I need to get money. I need to make money. Like, how am I going to make money? So I end up getting a part-time job on top of everything else going on. I end up getting a part-time job. And the night that I was supposed to start my part-time job is the night that I got in a car accident. Do you think that I sat there and was like, oh, let me appreciate that things could have been so much worse, and that we're okay and we're alive, and just don't worry about the car, I can get a new car? The first thing I thought about was, how the hell am I going to get to work? And my car, what am I going to do about this? Like, I still was in just such a stage of just money chasing that I just did not appreciate anything. And I feel like God did that to sit me down, and I still didn't even see it. I was just so delusional, and I just was lost. And you know when you're not working on yourself that you can just get so lost really quick. And you know the difference when you're working on yourself because you're like, oh, I'm being self-aware. I know that this meant this and know this meant that. But then when you're not, you're just like,
I don't know. Let me just still go after what I'm doing.
and it is what it is. And it's just like, fucking idiot. I just was missing all the signs. And when I look back, it makes me a little sad because I just got so lost, and it wasn't just me, it was my kids. So I wasn't even fully being present in their lives because I was chasing after money so much. So they just weren't getting the best version of me at that time. And I can't beat myself up over it, but it doesn't take away that feeling at that moment was just, I should have understood what it meant, and I should have appreciated what I had, and I should have slowed down. But I just wasn't there. There's really nothing I can do about that at that point. But yeah. So yeah, my mindset is still, let's get this money. We need to get this money. I got bills to pay. I got things I'm trying to do. So I get started. Since I don't have school anymore, I try to start back up with my business. And I'm just like, all right, I'm coming strong. I come in being this perfect expert and being the coach that I'm supposed to be, not one authentic bone in my body. I'm just in it. And it was terrible. Somehow whatever I was doing was working because I started to get clients. The thing about it was, at this point, I lost all sight of why I started. Remember when I said I used to love helping people, and it brought me joy and satisfaction to help people? But by that time I started getting clients, I stopped seeing them as people and just started seeing them as dollar signs. Anything that I felt prior to the passion behind it became non-existent. It was just a thing about money, 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 money. Then I had a nerve to be preaching prioritizing self, journaling, meditation, self-care, taking care of just everything that has to do with what I should have been doing. And I wasn't doing a damn thing. So I knew that I wanted to do it because it made sense and I've been there before. But when I was trying to do it, I just could not stick with it. I could not journal for the life of me. I could not stick to meditating because I just was not in it, and I was a whole imposter. And then I had this great program. The thing about it is I have this great program that promotes you shifting your mindset and being a better person and taking care of yourself and figuring out what you want to do and pushing strong through those obstacles and challenges, and just continue to work on yourself and see what comes up for you. And I had such a great program, and I just was not following anything that I was selling. And my clients were getting results and I was working with them, but I wasn't doing anything that I should have been doing for myself. It would have been so much more easier, and it would have been more genuine. It would have been more authentic if I was literally doing what I was practicing, what I was preaching, basically. I was fake. I was a faker. I was not living my genuine life. It's like, who is this person? I don't know who this is. I just began to chase. I was so desperate for just money that I lost sight of everything. The greed behind it. And you know, of course, when you chase things, everything that I wanted ran from me. It was like, no, I don't want no parts of you and what you coming with, because you is not on no right anything, and I don't want you. And literally everything was just running away from me. I just was not in a good space at all. I wasn't appreciating what I had. I wasn't showing gratitude for everything that I was grateful for, and I was projecting. I was just being very negative just because I was miserable and I didn't know who I was, what I wanted, what life I wanted to live. It just wasn't a good time for me. And it got to the point where even God was like, look, girl, all right, I'm gonna give you a break because I can't even watch you go through this anymore, as you are a mess. and you clearly ain't getting it. So let me once again sit your ass down. So at this point, it's just a couple months ago. It's December 2022. So it's the end of the year. And I had this epiphany again. And I love epiphanies. They're just amazing. It just just switches your mindset just immediately. When the epiphany happened, I instantly started asking myself questions well, first I decided I don't want to live like this anymore. But I started asking myself, who are you? What happened? What do you like? What does your soul yearn for? I wasn't asking myself any questions because I was just in it. Then randomly, I just started praying out of nowhere. I would pray at first, one day will go by, I'll pray once a day, twice a day. Then I just started just praying all the time. And the way that I pray, I'll either talk out loud or I'll talk in my mind, but I'm talking to God. I'm asking him for things like guidance, wisdom, things like that. I'm not asking him for any material things. So I'm just constantly, then it comes to a point where I'm just praying multiple times a day. I'm just asking for grace. I'm asking for just to give me the faith to just continue. What do I want to do? I just started to literally talk to God because I felt like I needed him more than ever at this time. I just could not continue to live the life that I was living. It just wasn't in me anymore. And I felt like I think everyone, when you have a relationship with God, it's your relationship. He already knows you in and out. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And I feel like I just built my own relationship in my own way, and I think it works. And I've been receiving messages and signs, so I know that he's hearing me, and I do believe that I'm doing the right thing because he's answering me. Just period. The next thing that started to come up for me, I started to journal. I just felt the need to write things down. I would have questions about things. I will write them down so that I can get the answer. I will also just journal about just how I felt, my feelings, my thoughts, where they were coming from, what I can do to possibly shift those thoughts. Before praying, journaling, meditating, self-care, those were all on my actual to-do list. These are on a list of things to do. Now these things are just coming naturally to me. They are just something that is a must. I have to do them or I'm not going to feel right throughout my day if I don't do these things. I've been doing inner work and been trying to heal, working on traumas. I've been trying to be obedient to God, just walk in faith and just believe and trust that everything is going to work out the way that it's supposed to work out. I have completely let go of just trying to control things because that has not worked for me in the past, and I just don't want to go down that route. I think when I try to control things, it gets me off track to what I'm destined to do, and I feel like it's not meant for me to know the how. I just need to just continue to move and just go with the flow and see what happens and what's supposed to happen for me in my life. I feel like this experience is one of the most calming, surreal experiences of my life. And this is even more than the first time. I feel like the mindset that I have and just the experiences that I've went through, I feel like there's no way that I can ever go back to thinking the way that I thought. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. Am I going to slip up and try to get into old patterns and habits that I've done my whole life? Absolutely, I'm human. But I feel like I have more, what's the word? I don't know what the word is, but I know I just want to walk with faith, and I want to just follow my heart and just focus on what my spirit wants and just trying to be happy. I think that's all that matters to me. I want to continue to grow. I want to continue to work on myself. I want to continue to try to implement whatever I can so that I can start to bring this into my household and pass this down to my children. And my main goal in life right now is peace. I feel like everything else is going to come. Moving forward, the peace that I've had has been, I don't know, peace to me almost feels like I should be doing more. Like it feels too good. I feel like, you're so used to hustle mode. I just feel like I should be doing more, but just being present and being in the moment is just amazing. I still want to work on my business. It's about mindset, so mindset is always important. I just think I want to change my message around to better suit the lifestyle that I'm trying to get on, and just to be more in alignment. I don't know what that looks like. God will guide me, and I'll figure that out whenever it gets here. I actually, it's crazy. I quit my part-time job finally. So at this point, I think I'm just walking in faith. God, the universe, they got me, and I feel like I just am going to go wherever I'm guided to. I feel like the more that I'm at peace, I feel like the more that I'm just in the flow of things and just being, that whatever's supposed to happen, I'm going to be guided to, and it's going to be the right thing, because at the end of the day, my life is already planned. I'm already destined to live that life, whatever it is. So I'm no longer fighting it. I just don't have it in me anymore. My passion is helping people. I know that for a fact. The how is not for me to know. It's not my business. I'll figure that out. I just feel like right now is the time to focus on myself and to focus on inner work. Everything else is going to come into play, and I'm just so grateful that I'm in a space where I'm in full alignment. I'm constantly receiving synchronicities, videos I'm being led to, books I'm being guided to. Like everything is just, it's all going into the right purpose. Even this video, I even said I wasn't even going to be on social media for a while, just because of the past experiences with the whole business thing. But I just feel like I was guided to make this video. It's just could help someone who, just hearing the story, just hearing my story, and just hearing how even with the difficult situations, some that I haven't even spoken about, that still brought me to this place. And I feel like it's a very strong feeling, and it's something that you can't get away from. And I think that this is just where I'm supposed to be at right now. Also, I noticed just because you're on your journey, it doesn't mean that you're just healed. It just means that you're in constant awareness of everything that's going on around you, your reactions to things, how do you respond. I just feel that it just makes you more aware of how you should just act in general. But it's a daily job. Yes, I still get triggered. Yes, I can be a bitch sometimes, but what I do differently this time, I feel like I journal a lot, and I try to figure out, why am I triggered? Why do I feel like this? Why is this affecting me this way? Why do I have these feelings? So I try to figure it out, and then once I get that answer, I move on from it. I don't just stay in that emotion and just allow it to just be what it is, and just don't have any reason why that I'm feeling this type of way, because I don't like to be in those type of spaces. So I try to acknowledge them, and then I just move forward. And I feel like one of my main goals is to just stay focused and to never allow myself to get back into one of those spaces to where I forget who I am and my responsibilities and what I should be doing for me and what makes me happy. I think the key to happiness is so simple. It's just self-love, self-care, taking care of yourself, feeling good, having peace. Moving forward, I don't really know what I'm going to do with this channel. I think right now I just want to be very transparent. Might laugh, might cry, who knows what you're going to get. But I just want to use this as a visual journal, just to, as I stated before, document my journey and just see where everything takes me. I'm really excited to see how my life is about to change. It's already been changing right before my eyes. I also feel like it's important for us to try to build a community, because I know there's some of us who are already on their journey, who are way past me. There's some who are in my phase, there's some who haven't started yet and don't know where to start. But I feel like us just coming together, even if it's just finds one person and it helps them, I am completely satisfied. The feeling behind it is amazing. We should all be in this space of just knowing who we are. Like, we have to survive in this crazy world, and then trying not to get lost in all the craziness. It's daily hourly work, and I feel like we need to all stick together and support each other. If this video resonated with you at all, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for upcoming videos. I just want to leave you guys with this. No one can give you action steps on how to start your journey or what to do, because it's your journey and everyone's is different. Now, we do all have similarities, but it's your path to take. Just know that the more you let go, the more blessings will come. It's so easier said than done, and letting go is so hard, but you have to let go. Everything that you've been praying for is going to come to you in divine time, and when you're ready to receive it, you just have to be open, remain centered and grounded and focused, and you will be led to the true you. So you guys, that's all I have for now. I hope to see you in the next video.